against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution, occur breaking news, culture, matic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. And make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we're living through these days. The great disintermediation, like I like to call it. Anyways, today is a very, very big week. Apparently, this is when the spot Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved. Bloomberg analysts are calling, they're putting the percentage odds at 95%. They're talking about it nonstop on legacy corporate media. But it is a double-edged sword, ladies and gentlemen, because there is going to be a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin. But remember, this is captured Bitcoin. And we're going to be talking about that point. We're going to be beating that drum the rest of the week because it is really, really something that I want you guys to focus on. It is captured Bitcoin at the end of the day. If your Bitcoin is not in self-custody, it is not really yours. The US government and governments all around the world, to be frank, have a history of when they're in a pickle, they seize assets. They just nab it, right? Even in the United States, right? With all the constitutional protections, the infamous 6102 order, which sounds so like, you know, like in the US, right? The quote unquote, the home of the free, the land of the brave, the US government made it illegal for US citizens to own a metal, right? And in exchange for that metal, what did the US government do? We're going to give you paper, right? So it would not surprise me if we see something similar happen with all this captured Bitcoin. You have to call it for what it is. It is captured Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. But still, from the price perspective, to be fair, you know, I do believe that it could potentially, you know, make the price go up. I think it is going to make the price go up. But there's two things, right? There is, of course, the, you know, the number go up technology, which I think we are all celebrating. But there is also the separation of money and state. And here's the thing. When you want the separation of money and state, you need people holding an unconfiscatable asset. If you don't want the separation of money and state, a Bitcoin ETF isn't going to do anything. What it's going to do is essentially make it's a giant honeypot, you know, for the US government or any government to seize. If they get themselves in a pickle, if Bitcoin starts to become more like so successful, it's like, oh, like you own that. Okay, well, we're going to take it and here's some dollars in exchange. Do you think BlackRock or it's all custodied in Coinbase, by the way. So they literally only have to knock on one door. Do you really think the Coinbase is like, no, you can't do this? No, the only way that you resist this, and I think that this confiscation, by the way, and I'm going to say this on record, is inevitable, but the only way that you resist this is millions upon millions of individuals holding their own private keys, because then it becomes unenforceable, right? What is the government going to do? Knock on everyone's door and just say, give me your 12 words? Like, the US is the most armed country on planet Earth. Like, that would be very difficult for them to do. But if you take a look at history, and if you don't learn from history, right, like, you know, you're destined to repeat it. They've done that in the past. How did the 6102 gold confiscation happen? There was only a handful of banks of which the government said, hey, you know, that gold, it actually belongs to us now, right? Coinbase, that Bitcoin, it actually belongs to us now. Thank you very much, right? So I want you guys to keep that in mind. This is simply Bitcoin after all. Yes, this could be potentially extremely bullish for the price, But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of the biggest stress tests Bitcoin has ever endured. And all the boomers, and the boomers are the ones that have the money in terms of the generations, they're going to buy that up so quickly, so easily on their Charles Schwab account. They're going to open their brokerage account. Oh, I can buy Bitcoin now. You're not buying Bitcoin. You're buying paper Bitcoin. Anyways, it's going to be interesting though. And number go up is definitely going to do its thing. So Opti, what's up, man? What's your take on all this? I think also we have a really interesting topic during the culture segment as well. So,
yeah. I mean, first and foremost, you guys know my take on the whole ETF stuff. It's paper Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. You want to hold actual Bitcoin. But I also understand like what Nico was saying, hence why I was laughing when I got pulled in. The boomers do not want to take any of their assets into custody. They're just so used to getting exposure to things that they just want some exposure in their portfolio. Like this is where we are in the story. And yeah, man, we're going to see what happens this week. I think the earliest day that we will have some kind of idea of a Bitcoin ETF being approved is Wednesday. So it's going to be a big week. We'll see what exactly happens. I think either if the ETF gets approved or not, it really doesn't matter for us because we're Bitcoiners. We hold Bitcoin. We're on the Bitcoin standard. So it's going to be an interesting week just to see what happens in response to people talking about Bitcoin, what the price is going to do. And I mean, I think you're going to bring it up, Nico, but even Gary Gensler's already tweeting about getting crypto, quote unquote, exposure. So it does seem like an ETF is imminent either this week. We've been saying for a while, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Is this the week that it pops off? We'll see. Is this the week that we enter a new era of Bitcoin adoption? We will see by the end of the week where we are right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if they delay an ETF.
It wouldn't surprise me either. It wouldn't surprise me either. We know what the political stance is from the Biden administration. We had Caitlin Long on Simply Bitcoin IRL last year, and she said the quiet part out loud. She says that the order to stop my federal banking charter that came straight from the White House. The White House released many articles basically criticizing Bitcoin, making the case as to why central banking is necessary. So yeah, I mean, I think, it would not surprise me if this wasn't approved, but clearly there's a huge market need. Like BlackRock wouldn't be offering this. All these institutions wouldn't be offering this if they didn't believe that there was institutional demand for Bitcoin, right?
No, Nico, it's even deeper than that. Like they wouldn't have even considered this idea if their customers weren't asking for it.
Correct. Right. So there's clearly like a market need, right? But again, ladies and gentlemen, it is a double-edged sword. So we're going to focus on the ETF news today. We're going to go through it, but we're also, because we are a Bitcoin show, right? We're not going to just go, oh my God, the price is going to go up. We are going to look back in history and show you, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, shout out Daff, he put it in the chat. The revolution is self-custody. The fact that you can memorize 12 words or 24 words is what is going to fundamentally change things. If everybody is just posting, everyone's just, buying the Bitcoin ETF, and that Bitcoin ETF is in a custodian of which the US government could just one executive order away from being able to seize it, doesn't change anything, right? This is the separation of money and state. You do not separate money and state if you have it all in a custodian that the state could just seize and confiscate at a moment's notice, right? So I just want to make that very clear. Anyways, I'm really excited for today's episode. Let's start off the week strong. Let's hit the numbers. Let's do it.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stampseed. All right, guys, I made it extremely easy for you guys. You could scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you directly to the Stampseed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to explain to your grandchildren why you lost your generational wealth. Go to Stampseed today. Get yourself a Stampseed storage kit. Store your generational wealth. Store your Bitcoin seed phrase on titanium. Visit Stampseed. Use promo code SIMPLY. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $45,340. Sats per dollar, 2,206. The market capitalization of Bitcoin, $888 billion. Decline from all-time high, 34.3%. Days since all-time high, 788 days. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 6.53%. Supply of Bitcoin in corporate treasuries, 10%. Total Lightning Network capacity, 5,000 Bitcoin. Block height, also making an all-time high, 824,886. Anyways, we've come a long way. We're at $45,000 Bitcoin. Very, very, very long day. But sometimes I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Maybe we're late to Bitcoin. Maybe we've missed the party. Oh gosh. Well, we have to look back into the past. Remember, if you want to learn, if you don't learn from the past, you're destined to repeat it. Here's the legend, Andreas Antonopoulos, I think at one of the first Bitcoin conferences, talking about Bitcoin at $100. And I'm not going to play you guys the video, but literally, like, come on now, right? $100 of Bitcoin. And the conference was completely empty. We are on the verge of this being accepted by the traditional financial system. If you think that, $40,000 Bitcoin, you're still too late to it. Maybe you're not extremely early, but looking back 10, 15, 20 years from now, when we're sitting at $2 million Bitcoin, $3 million Bitcoin, potentially $5 million Bitcoin, you're going to look back on this and you're going to be like, wow, remember when it was at 40K? That was an opportunity. Anyways, so here is Michael Saylor. He's saying it, time to break free. Michael Saylor is so bullish about this ETF. He cannot contain himself. He's even dropping some memes. They're absolutely hilarious. Let's check it out.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin is the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best, okay? But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business, it's in your family for 37 years, and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.
Oof. I mean, and shout out to the original creator, Robin Sear, absolutely crushing it with the meme game. So yeah, I mean, dude, absolutely hilarious. Everything that Saylor said was absolutely spot on, absolutely hit the nail on the head. Opti, what's your take on this, brother?
Well, first, I did not see that video. I saw it kind of going around, and that was absolutely hilarious. Shouts out to the guy who made that, because that was some good editing. I really enjoyed the audio edits on there. That was great. To the idea of, are we early or late or whatever? It's like, yeah, Bitcoin went from literally $0 of worth. It came out of nowhere. It had no price, and now it's at 45K. So like, if you're looking back and you're looking at the price increases, obviously it seems like you are late to the party. But another Saylor quote, which one is it? Let's see. Do I have it right here for you guys? I do.
It's going up forever.
So I fundamentally think that no matter what you think about Bitcoin, it's only been 15 years in this game. Gold's been around for thousands of years. This is a new hard money standard, and 15 years is just, it's still a baby. It's in its teenage years. Like I fundamentally believe that we have not seen the best gains in Bitcoin. I'm not part of this diminishing returns meme. I don't believe that, because look, I look around, and I've been saying this for a while on the show. I have one fundamental test. Go outside and talk to normal people, guys, and ask them what they think about Bitcoin. If you do this, most people will either think you are stupid because you're a Bitcoiner. They think, they have some view on Bitcoin that they heard from the corporate press, or they are just kind of loosely interested, like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but I heard it's a scam. Like, very few people actually hold Bitcoin. And I forget what the numbers are, but I think we are less than 1% of global population that are Bitcoiners, and we got to onboard billions of people. Like, it's still so early, and Bitcoin, as a Hal Finn quote that I put on last week, is Bitcoin has to go up in value to onboard the rest of the world. Like, this is how it works. It's simple supply demand economics, and very few people actually hold Bitcoin. And even to that point, the people that hold Bitcoin, I would say that very few or a small percentage of them are the ones that actually understand Bitcoin, believe in Bitcoin like all of us. Like, the Bitcoin maxis still get ridiculed in the crypto industry, and we're the ones that have the real understanding of what Bitcoin is. So, like, if you think you're early to Bitcoin, I think either you need to study a little harder, or just kind of, lower your time preference, relax, realize that there's still a long game that needs to be played out. Like, we're still very early in this Bitcoin experiment. And remember, this is a new monetary experiment. The dollar has been around, or paper fiat money, however you want to claim it. It's been a 100-year experiment, and look how ingrained it is into society. Well, we're only at 15 years of Bitcoin. I'm sure if you go back in time, after 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, at 15 years, people were still kind of iffy and unsure about paper money. And this is where we are in the experiment. Or the other example that most people like to talk about is the adoption of the internet. At like 15 years old, we're still at like AOL. So we're still very early in this new monetary paradigm. And I think if you are thinking that you're late, of course, you are looking back in time and being like, man, Bitcoin went from literally worth nothing to $45,000. Like, how much more can this run? And as a Bitcoiner, as someone that stays bull-tarded, I think this can run a lot more than any one of us even understand. As Nico says, or rather, as we quote from CK,
you're not bullish enough.
Yeah, you're not bullish enough, but we fundamentally underestimate what a new operating system, a new monetary operating system really means for society. And if we look at where we are right now, there's a lot of speculation on the internet right now about like society degrading and it seems to be getting worse. Well, this is all because of fiat paper money. And as we move on to a new operating system, a new monetary system, like, we will start to see the fruits of building on a hard money standard. And we just aren't there yet. And if you think that Bitcoin is only going to stop at 6 figures, 7 figures, $100,000, $1 million, I just fundamentally think you are too bearish, and this is going up forever. A hard capped monetary asset has never been had before in the history of humanity. I fundamentally think you are underestimating how important Bitcoin is. And I think this year is going to be a very interesting year, not only in regards to the institutions coming, corporate press talking about Bitcoin, but just literally in regards to price. Like, I know we try not to talk about price. A lot of people say that price is the most uninteresting thing about Bitcoin, but I say it all the time. The Bitcoin price is a real-time metric of people's understanding of Bitcoin. And so few people understand what Bitcoin is that I think as it goes up, more and more people are going to FOMO. I think we're in for a FOMO train coming 2024 and 2025. Remember, three green dots, 1 red. We are only in the second green dot, guys. Simplify this, stack sats, stay humble, hodl that Bitcoin long-term. create more value. It's a positive feedback loop, and we have just yet to see the exponential release and price movements that we're going to see right now. I think you're just being bearish right now. You're stop being cynical.
Too bearish, bro. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to our Rumble audience, our YouTube audience, our Twitter audience. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to smash that like button. It really, really helps us. We're at 72 likes right now in the chat. So if we help us maintain our streak of breaking 100 likes within the first hour. Really, really helps with the mysterious algos. I do want to give a shout out to the Simply Bitcoin original sponsor, The Bitcoin Way. Take charge of your financial future. These guys have your back. They function as your Bitcoin IT team, dedicated to offering personalized, secure, and comprehensive solutions for every aspect of your Bitcoin journey. So if that means inheritance planning, they got your back. A wallet or a node setup. If you're getting into Bitcoin, you want to learn about cold storage, they got your back. You want to learn about setting up your node, they got your back. What about a concierge service? You want to call them, you have any questions? Hey, look, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to access my multi-sig wallet. They got your back as well. So if you guys are new to Bitcoin, you guys want a dedicated Bitcoin IT team, definitely go check out The Bitcoin Way. Take charge of your financial future. So go to thebitcoinway.com. All right, everybody, let's hit the news. We have a lot to talk about.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, everybody. So before we talk about the Bloomberg article, and the Bloomberg analyst saying basically that there's a 95% chance that the Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved today, we are a Bitcoin show. So what we're going to talk about is the dangers really of a spot Bitcoin ETF, the benefits of self-custody. And remember, without self-custody, there is no revolution, right? There's a high probability. I'm not the only one thinking about this. Here's Max Kaiser, absolute Bitcoin legend. One, government seizes the ETF for national security before they send you your USD. Price moves up $100,000. You pay taxes on the gain from the payout. With what's left, you buy Bitcoin at 100,000 or higher. Price crashes. You're now sitting on a net losing position from where you started. Here is Alex. We work together over at Swan, and she said, not likely out of the realm of possibility. If you read the fine print, this excerpt from the Valkyrie Bitcoin Fund Form S1 registration statement, quote, seizes, impounds, quote, restricted access are outcomes we want to protect our wealth from. Real Bitcoin is superior. Here is some details from one of the trust documents. The trust will dissolve if any of the following events occur. A U.S. federal or state regulator requires the trust to shut down or forces the trust to liquidate its Bitcoin, or seizes, impounds, or otherwise restricts access to trust assets. I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. Like, why would you want to put yourself in that position? If Bitcoin succeeds too much, if it continues to embarrass fiat currencies, which it's absolutely doing, they've done this in the past. What makes you think they will not do this in the future if they find themselves in a pickle? The whole point of Bitcoin is confiscatable wealth. And that goes in two ways, either direct confiscation or confiscation via inflation. Here is the infamous 6102 order. What was it for anyone that doesn't know? It's an executive order signed on April 5th, 1933 by FDR forbidding the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the continental United States. Check out the wording. We're forbidding hoarding. No. They made it illegal for the private ownership of gold coins, bars, just gold in general. And again, like, the stated reason for the order was that hard times had caused hoarding of gold. What makes you think that they won't do the same thing? I mean, Elizabeth Warren right now is trying to pass a law, and she has 20 senators that have signed up to this, basically saying that they want to make it illegal for American citizens to take self-custody. Here's Gary Gensler. He tweeted this out this morning. Here's a thread. Some things to keep in mind if you're considering investing in crypto assets. 1, those offering crypto asset investments and services may not be complying with applicable law, including federal securities law. Investors in crypto asset securities should understand that they may be deprived of key info or other important protections in connection with their investment. Investments in crypto assets also can be exceptionally risky and are often volatile. A number of major platforms in crypto assets have become insolvent or lose value. Investments in crypto assets continue to be subject to significant risks. 3, fraudsters continue to exploit the rising popularity of crypto assets to lure retail investors into scams. These investments continue to be replete with fraud, bogus coin offerings, Ponzi and pyramid schemes, and outright theft where a project promoter disappears with investors' money. But hey, guys, with this ETF, we can protect you for all that. It's always for your safety. Anyways, so let's get back to the actual topic. Now that I said that giant disclosure, because we're a Bitcoin show, we are here for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We are here for the separation of money and state. Let's get into the ETF news. There's a high probability, according to multiple sources, including ex-SEC chair, that the spot Bitcoin ETF is assured. Bloomberg analyst said there is a 90% chance that the spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved this week. Anyways, here's a clip from CNBC, from Squawk Box. Let's check out what they have to say.
Is the SEC going to sign off on a Bitcoin ETF, you think?
I think approval is inevitable. And
imminently?
And I think there's nothing left to decide. I know. And I credit the SEC for where they are. Where are we? We're comfortable with the disclosure. Joe just went through the cost of investing in a Bitcoin ETF. People need to know what the cost of doing it is. They need to know, about the underlying Bitcoin market. Is the Bitcoin underlying trading market something that is what I would say is robust enough, efficacious enough, where you can rely on it? It is much better today than it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, there was wash sales, there was laddering, there was all sorts of things that you wouldn't want to make available to the general public because of that risk. And the last thing, and I think this is missed, is the technology to actually provide the product, the custodying, the create, the redeem. This is a big.
So hold on a second before I keep going. Right, like, think about what he just said a second. I'm so hell bent on this self-custody is a revolution thing. He said 5 years ago, we shouldn't have allowed this to the general public. Where was the price of Bitcoin 5 years ago? And did you hear him mention custody? Right? We have the custody capability. So, like, it's just interesting. You have to pay attention to words. Words are important. Framing is important.
Big step, not just for Bitcoin, but for finance generally. If you can digitize, tokenize underlying assets and trade that way, that's a potential significant change across finance, not just in the crypto space.
But you think Bitcoin ETF approval is coming and imminent?
Yeah,
well.
I do.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Okay, so that's the general consensus from the old from an ex-SEC chair. And again, I just want you guys to hyper focus on the aspect of 5 years ago wasn't ready. Could you have imagined where we're sitting today if you could have bought Bitcoin 5 years ago? Well, he thinks basically that people shouldn't have had access to it 5 years ago, even though look at how it's performed. He also mentioned, oh, we can custody it. The whole point of Bitcoin, you can write down 12 words. You can create, you can create your own seed phrase. You can get yourself a hardware wallet. You can take self-custody. Obviously, we recommend the foundation here. It's simply not your keys, not your Bitcoin. You can take self-custody of it, right? And of course, it's just like, yeah, but no, custody is important as long as it's our custody, essentially. Here is the article that I wanted to read. I wanted to really focus on today. Bitcoin ETF approval odds raised to 90% by Bloomberg Analysts. Odds of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved in the US have risen to more than 90%. Two influential analysts at Bloomberg said, while crypto market participants at betting platform Polymarket became more pessimistic, timing the odds to 85%, referring to the likelihood of the SEC rejecting proposals after Friday's flurry of updated filings. Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Bakunas said in a Saturday post, "I'd probably go up with 5%, putting his probability at 95%, but you got to leave a little window open for these things." He previously tipped the odds at 90% in November. So it goes on to say, good question. ARK withdraws with assurances about March. Gensler goes nuclear and SEC denies new reasons or ignores the court, knowing they end up back in court. Biden administration comes down and does something to stop this. And Eric replies, said, although I probably go with 5% at this point. And I mean, those are really good points, right? We know the Biden administration doesn't like it. And the Biden administration, obviously, it's a Democratic administration. Guys, we don't lean left or right. I'm just saying things how they are. The vast majority of people that co-sponsored the Elizabeth Warren bill were Democrats. The current administration is Democratic, or it comes from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has been, in general, it's not black and white, has been hostile towards Bitcoin, while the Republican Party has been a little bit more open to Bitcoin. Even though, like I said, it's not black and white. You had RFK Jr., even though he's running as an independent now, he was extremely pro-Bitcoin, self-custody, anti-CBDC, right? So I just want to mention that. So all these things, even though they're unlikely, they're definitely non-0%, probabilities, right? So anyways, it goes on to explain more than a dozen applicants hope to launch the first spot Bitcoin ETF in the US. And let's go through some of them. Our friends over at Bitcoin Magazine, they've laid out the case. Here is the grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They're converting it. And let's check out the fees, because they've been extremely competitive, these fees, right? Fee 1.5% for the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. For ARK, it's a 0.25% fee. The iShares, which is the BlackRock, 0.3% fee. The Bitwise, 0.24% fee. The Van Erck Bitcoin Trust, 0.25%. The Wisdom Bitcoin Trust, 0.5%. Fidelity 0.39%, Valkyrie 0.8%, Hashdex Bitcoin ETF 0.9%, Franklin Bitcoin ETF 0.29%. And I got a question for you guys. And our boy Rustin did some great effing work on this. You're paying a fee for someone else to custody your Bitcoin, of which we read you guys the document. There's explicit wording. Okay, so let's just break it down for a sec. Okay, let's just break it down for a sec. I have to go full screen for this. Okay, all right, I have to go full screen for this and just break it down. You're paying a fee for someone else to hold your Bitcoin, and in the disclosure documents, it literally says that the trust will dissolve if the federal government decides to liquidate, seize, and impound. And by the way, that 6102 order that FDR passed, that was an executive order. That wasn't even Congress. Congress agreed to it after the fact. That was the president literally writing an executive order. Gold is illegal now. Try me, right? So I mean, like, or crazy idea. You can learn how to take self-custody, get yourself a hardware wallet, get yourself stamped seed, put that seed in titanium. Check out our boys over at the Bitcoin Way if you still don't know this, or check out our boy BTC Sessions. He literally has free tutorials on YouTube on how to take self-custody in multiple ways. And there is no fee. There is no way for them to confiscate your wealth easily. And you have the total freedom to not only vote with your wallet, but also vote with your fee. What is easier for you? I mean, for me, it's an obvious decision that self-custody is the answer. But like, I guess, I mean, like, you know, like you can pay someone else money to hold your Bitcoin, of which the government can seize at a snap of a finger. How does that make sense? No idea, but okay. Anyways, back to the ETF. I mean, look, I'm not going to say this, but I mean, like, I guess people just like convenience. Like, this is the craziest shit. I mean, I get it. I'm biased. I'm a Bitcoiner. I value sovereignty. But like, this makes absolutely no effing sense to me personally. And here's our boy Rustin and Ani, and they've done our Twitter, and Jax, our Twitter team, dropping hot fire. You know, self-custody is the revolution, and they break it down. Right? New Bitcoin ETF fees may leave you with only 54% of Bitcoin after 30 years. Bitcoin times. By the way, if you guys want some more, like, you know, news dropping the second it drops, follow the Simply Bitcoin account. Go to @SimplyBitcoinTV on Twitter or X. And let's just check it out. Right? So self-custody, no fees. Right? After 30 years, guess what? You have 100% of your Bitcoin. With a 1% fee, after 30 years, you have 73% of your Bitcoin. And after a 1% plus an IFA managing fee, you have 54% of your Bitcoin. So, I mean, like, like the government could seize it. It's in the disclosure documents. You end up with less Bitcoin, and they're charging you a fee to custody it. Or you could take self-custody with a hardware wallet and benefit from multi-sig. I mean, it's obvious. It's really obvious to me. But there is stuff going on in the background, right? All these, you know, all these black institutions, BlackRock, ARK, they're all changing things last minute, which I think is another indicator that there's a high probability for this to get approved. It goes on to say BlackRock, ARK, and several other prospective issuers of exchange-traded funds investing directly in Bitcoin in the U.S. filed amended forms for their applications on Monday with the SEC. Fidelity, Invesco, Galaxy Digital, and Wisdom Tree were among other firms that filed amended S1 applications with the SEC. The regulator has until January 10th to take action on at least one of their applications. Bitcoin goes on to talk about the price. There are two technical requirements that must be fulfilled before a spot Bitcoin ETF can start trading. First, the SEC must sign off on so-called 19BF filings by the exchange that would list the ETF. Second, the regulator must approve the relevant S1 forms, which are the registration applications from the would-be issuers. The SEC is planning to vote on the exchange filings, the 19BFS, in the coming days. Bloomberg News has reported the regulator may or may not then take action on the issuers' applications. The S1s are around the same time. If the SEC grants both sets of requirement approvals, the ETFs could start trading as soon as the next business day. That's right. There's a probability that these ETFs could start trading on Thursday and Friday. That's a giant potential inflow of money coming into Bitcoin. And I know that, I know that Opti loves, some bullish takes. So Samson Mao is absolutely not holding himself back whatsoever. This is him saying this. This is not Nico saying this. Says, just making sure here, I'm still the only one saying Bitcoin can go to $1 million in days to weeks, right? because when it happens, I don't want any of you bearish mother effers saying you also called it, right? Here's Eric Voorhees, been a long time in the industry. He's the founder of Shapeshift. Goes on to say the most important result of Bitcoin ETF will be that it dissuades or even prevents governments from the harshest potential treatment of Bitcoin, the impulse to outright ban it. When 50 million boomers own it passively, the political and economic damage from a ban will be significantly less palatable. It's no longer just an asset for shadowy supercoders. It's absolutely a Trojan horse about to be pulled through gates of Troy. But again, I just want to re-emphasize this. Here's the Predator. The Bitcoin spot ETFs are a cascading chain of counterparty risks. If you don't control the UTXO, then you don't actually own the Bitcoin. Here's a meme. BlackRock, Coinbase, and government seizure, right? Absolutely spot on. Very, very fitting. And one more tweet, if I could find it. No, that's the last one. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that covers everything. Big probability, according to the odds, according to multiple analysts, that we have a spot Bitcoin ETF approval this Wednesday that could be trading by Thursday and Friday of this week. I think it's extremely bullish for the price. However, I think that it could potentially be damaging for the revolution. As people get comfortable, they start to buy that that spot Bitcoin ETF on their Robinhood account or on their Charles Schwab account or whatever brokerage firm, and they don't actually learn the benefits of self-custody. And we broke it down for you guys. Like the pros and cons of both are just so freaking obvious. The slight discomfort of learning a new technology, buying a hardware wallet, writing down 12 mother effing 24 or 12 to 24 mother effing words, right? Paying zero fees. It's unconfiscatable. The other option is outsource that, pay a fee, have less Bitcoin, not to mention the fact that in the disclosures itself, they say that this could be seized and confiscated by the US government whenever they want. Like, I'll let you guys be the judge, right? Like, which one is the better option? It's obvious which one is the better option. Anyways, I am bullish for the price. I am a little bit worried for the revolution. I mean, even though Bitcoin's going to win at the end, I think it's inevitable. The incentives are going to win. But it might push us back a couple years. It might make life a little bit uncomfortable here in the U.S. if you decide to live in the U.S. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on all this? And then we'll move on to the culture.
Yeah, well, first off, it's a strange day on Simply Bitcoin where Nico's agreeing with Eric Voorhees and Opti agreeing with Voorhees. I remember when he freaked out when you said this on stage.
You're against Bitcoin. You're against
And then he
freedom.
came on and he's like, who the hell was that guy? What the hell is he talking about? But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that take. We've been saying this for a while. You know, I also believe that taking Bitcoin into custody is probably the most important thing to do. Literally, I wasn't going to pull this up, but I actually got it ready. It's in the white paper, guys. It was Satoshi's prophetic foresight. Which one is it? What's needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. I repeat, to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. This is why Bitcoin is what it is. This is why it's so powerful. And it's just absolutely hilarious that, I mean, there is some irony, and I understand why this is happening. Obviously, it is very funny that we are seeing Wall Street try to come in and become the trusted third party. I get it. You know, the boomers out there, the rich and wealthy out there usually do not like to custody their own assets. And so, of course, they want to have someone trusted to hold those assets. And I don't find it, it's not lost on me that Wall Street is kind of low key trying to neuter Bitcoin, as Nico always says, capturing Bitcoin, making paper Bitcoin. We'll see exactly how this plays out. I mean, even how Finney said it, when Bitcoin was dropped, there will be full reserve Bitcoin banks, and then there will be fractional reserve Bitcoin banks. We know that this was going to happen. We've been saying that this is inevitable. Obviously, this will be good for the Bitcoin price, but we do not want to get ourselves back in a position where the banks and the unproductive class try to centralize the control of Bitcoin, the liquidity of Bitcoin. But as we've seen, and we've been covering this all of last year, most of the Bitcoin's already in cold storage. Most of the Bitcoin is held by people that know what they are holding, which I think is why we will not get ourselves into that position like gold. But I did see this tweet yesterday. I think it was yesterday by Junesis, who's been a Bitcoin OG. And he was basically saying, doing like a more contrarian take on the 6102 order about them confiscating Bitcoin and saying like, look, guys, they won't confiscate Bitcoin because when they confiscated gold, they were on the gold standard. We're not on a Bitcoin standard, so we probably won't get there yet. Now, that's not to say that it's not a possibility. We know as Bitcoiners that the powers that be are not going to let Bitcoin get out of the gate and easily. Like, it will be a fight, guys. So that's just something to keep in mind. I thought it was a very interesting take. And then on that point, guys, like I fundamentally believe taking Bitcoin in the cold storage is the most important thing for us Bitcoiners. Yes, I know that not everyone will be able to transact on the base layer, and that's why we have all the awesome developers out there working on scaling Bitcoin. But for some reason, while you were talking, I was reminded of the GameStop scenario. What was it, like a few years ago when everyone meme coin, I think it was 2021 or whatever. I forget the date. But like, is this going to be the new GameStop 2.0? You know, they unleash a spot Bitcoin ETF. Everyone that knows what's going on, get into Bitcoin. They buy spot Bitcoin. They buy the spot Bitcoin and not the ETF. The price starts pumping. People start to realize that if they take custody of their Bitcoin, that Wall Street cannot put, what is it? The breaker trading breakers and Bitcoin. What, they stop at 10% and Bitcoin just goes 40% or something.
Apparently that doesn't apply. That only applies to stocks. It doesn't apply to things.
Okay. But how beautiful would that be? Like, Wall Street embraces Bitcoin. Everyone that was in the GameStop, movement starts to realize that Bitcoin is the real GameStop, that Wall Street can't neuter Bitcoin. And it actually happened as people thought it would be, like Bitcoin being the revolution. Like, I was always surprised that not more GameStoppers became Bitcoiners. I know some of them have, but maybe this is the second time around. And that Gary Gensler crypto tweet, he's basically had already said, like, yeah, the spot Bitcoin ETF is going to get released, guys. But just be aware, don't FOMO. Remember, SEC dropped the don't FOMO tweet?
Don't FOMO. Look, I do, and we got to get to the culture opti. But
yeah, wait. One last thing before you go. Look, guys, also, as I said, boomers, the rich people, of course, they want a spot Bitcoin ETF to get price exposure to Bitcoin. We know this. It's convenient. We know this is going to happen. This is part of the story. But
Bitcoin
guys,
is for enemies. Yeah, 100%.
Take Bitcoin into custody. If you're an average person like us, you can still buy Bitcoin directly. You don't need an ETF. But again, if your employer is going to match your, your 401k or something, get some Bitcoin exposure. I'd say it's free Bitcoin.
Look, Bitcoin ETF is captured Bitcoin. If it's captured Bitcoin, if it's a snap of a finger, like government could seize it, that's why I said Bitcoin is for enemies. That's not real Bitcoin. So learn how to take self-custody. We're going to be hammering self-custody a lot over these next couple of weeks because guys, check out our sponsor, Foundation Devices. They're an awesome hardware wallet. Makes self-custody extremely easy. Scan the QR code. Guys, it is you have no excuse at this point. Don't fall into the ETF trap. It's convenient, but they're going to make you pay for it with fees. And there's a back door, right? There's a back door with the government. They can seize it, snap of a finger. So don't fall into that trap. Take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Self-custody Bitcoin is a real thing.
But also, the last thing, Nico, guys, if we see a spot Bitcoin ETF by Thursday, oh my goodness, the onslaught is going to be beautiful. Yeah, it might dump, but who cares? Long term, we're going to the moon.
Yeah, for price, right? For price, it could pump or it could dump. No one knows. Some people are on the side of the dump, and some people are on the side of the pump. Obviously, Mao is like ridiculously ultra bullish.
Imagine being a bear. Couldn't be me. Can't relate.
So you know, they could pump, they could dump. Who knows? But if you stay humble, stack sats, stay solvent.
Hey, if it dumps, cheap sats. Let's go.
Let's go. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Kaboom Racks. They're the most trusted place to buy and sell mining equipment. Check out their racks. You could scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will take you directly to the Kaboom Racks Telegram marketplace, where you can connect with a member of their awesome sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. You can also sell your mining equipment with them, access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your equipment with them. So guys, if you want to get into Bitcoin mining, check out Kaboom Racks. They're awesome. Kaboom Racks. And apparently we are at 46K. All right, everybody, let's hit the culture. We have a lot to talk about.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
All right, guys. So you guys know what I try to do here on the culture. I try to break down some more technical stuff, and this isn't as good of a video as I would like it to be. If you want a complete breakdown of what I'm going to cover today, then there is a lot of good breakdowns specifically on YouTube. You can find this. But anyways, what am I talking about? So you guys have been hitting me in the chat for, I guess, a few weeks now about how can I create my own seed phrase and not trust hardware companies, not trust anyone else or mobile wallets, not trust people to create my seed for me, and basically not trust these random generators creating seeds. So I'm just going to cover this on a high level because I don't have the actual video set up to show you in real time, and I'm trying to make this not as clunky as possible. So I'm just going to kind of spark your thought process here. Maybe you've never thought about this. Maybe you haven't been around Bitcoin long enough and you don't know all the attack vectors. So what am I talking about? First and foremost, guys, you should know by now that the way to secure your Bitcoin is by creating a wallet and then protecting your seed phrase. Usually it's in 12 or 24 words. You usually just kind of, you download maybe like Blue Wallet on your phone. It'll tell you create a new account. It'll spit out 12 words. You write that down. You secure it on some titanium, and then you send some Bitcoin to it. And hopefully I'll cover some more proper ways to create new wallets and get Bitcoin off an exchange. But there has been people in the chat that are like, hey, tell me how to roll my own seed. Hey, how do I create my own seed phrase so that I don't trust any companies? And remember, in Bitcoin, we have a meme. Don't trust, verify. So if you want to be as sovereign as possible, if you're a extremely paranoid Bitcoiner and you don't want to trust any Bitcoin company, any Bitcoin wallet, and you want to roll your own seed, create your own seed phrase for yourself, there is a lot of options for you. And so I'm just going to cover these options for you. Just, again, get your brain working, try to understand exactly what's going on. And then I do have some examples here for you. So first and foremost, the ones that most of you guys know, and I forgive me, I don't have dice here, but you can literally roll your own seed phrase with dice. So you will need basically 5 casino dice. You'll roll it either 50 to 100 times, 50 for 12 words, 100 for 24 words. Maybe Nico's got some dice over there that he can show you, but literally you just roll dice and then you input the dice numbers into your wallet and it will create for you a seed phrase. I know that Seed Signer and Cold Card both use that. I'm sure there's some other hardware wallets out there that use that feature. And you roll some dice and it will give you the entropy. And again, what is going on here when you create your own seed phrase? So usually there is a random number generator in your Bitcoin wallet and it creates randomness. And then that's how you get a seed phrase. It'll, there's an algorithm that spit out some seed words so that your wallet is human readable and you can remember those words. And so you spin or you roll 5 dice 50 to 100 times, depending if you want 12 or 24 words, and it'll give you the entropy you need. Next one, and shouts out to my boy Shishi, because he literally, I'd have to get you the GitHub stuff. If you guys want this, let me know. He literally just sent me all of the seed phrase words. And then he's like, dude, just chop them up and then put them in like a jar. But I moved. So I have a sack of seed phrase words here. Nico, pull up the one that you showed me earlier.
Or you could just go to Seed Signer, support a fellow Bitcoiner. And
yeah, and they got all the words.
And then it's like all the words, right? And then what you do is that you put this in like a bowl. And then you just pour it all in there, and then you just mix it up.
And you randomly pick words.
Randomly pick word, but you got to make sure that you mix the F out of it up. Because the thing about entropy, guys, is that you think you could pick randomly, right?
You can't.
You cannot pick randomly, right? So it truly has to be random. Obviously, the random number generator in your hardware wallet, it's trustworthy.
Yeah.
But don't trust verify, right? What if you created that randomness, right? That's why dice rolling is great. Casino
Picking
grade
your own
dice.
seed phrase.
Literally, like this is like what I personally do, because I'm like, I don't even trust the dice rolling. I'm like, no, F that. I'm just gonna pick the words myself.
Dude, we're such Neanderthals.
But there's different levels to this. Just like there's different levels to self-custody and multi-sig, there's different levels to entropy and picking your own seed words.
And you can Uncle Jim with your friends, and you can make family and stuff, make it kind of a game. I also have another one which I really love. Shouts out to my boy Jimbo Coin on Twitter.
Oh, Jimbo's awesome, dude.
I have these customized cards, so you can do a card game as well. Like you guys can see, it's got the seed phrase on here. And you do have to kind of go to his GitHub, and there's a process to it. But literally, you can get any card deck and also do the same process. This is just a customized version. I was supporting my buddy. I really love the idea. Actually, I might have done a podcast with him a few years back that covers it completely on YouTube with Bitcoin Kindergarten. And then the last one that I know of, and there might be more features, guys. There might be more ways of doing this.
There's many ways of doing this.
The last one that I really like is if you guys have a seed signer, you can also literally use a picture, and it will give you random entropy just based off the camera and looking at a picture, like a GIF or a meme or whatever, and it'll add entropy and it'll create a seed phrase for you based off the picture that you use. So I've used 3 of these. I haven't rolled dice yet, but I know that that's a feature. I just don't have dice. But guys, so you guys have been asking me how to do this. Again, if you want more of a breakdown, like a specific walkthrough of these, you can go on YouTube, literally roll, just type in like how to roll your own Bitcoin seed phrase. You can type in on Google, Jimbo Coin card Bitcoin seed phrase, that'll pop up. Or I forget what the GitHub is, but you can literally just download the words yourself, cut them up, put them in a jar. And then, of course, there's like the checksum, which is a high level stuff. It's just to ensure and secure that you are actually typing.
Yeah, but your hardware wallet will do that automatically.
Exactly,
so the hardware wallet most likely will pick that last 24th word for you.
12th or 21st, yeah.
So there's multiple different ways of doing this. It really depends on your own personal, like what you want to get out of your own security setup
and how paranoid you are.
The thing is, as a Bitcoiner, I'm telling you right now, the longer you've spent in this, the higher that level of paranoia goes up. Definitely. Maybe to an excessive amount, but at least I know my Bitcoin's safe. So I hope we're going to be doing more of this, guys, because it seems like you guys really liked it based on the comments, like self-custody, entropy stuff. I really like these topics. So we're going to be really focusing on, multiple things to cover during the culture segment.
Yeah, and as we move forward,
we'll go more in depth.
I'll go more in depth, and I will try to get you like camera setups and stuff. I don't really know how to do that yet, so maybe I'll talk to Sessions and all that. But I'll figure out how to make it more of a visual explainer for you. But basically, guys, if you want to roll your own seed, there's multiple ways to do this, and just again, judge for yourself. How much do you want to trust other people? How much do you want to trust, or how much do you trust these Bitcoin businesses? How much do you trust random number generators, or as someone said, pseudo number generators, pseudo random number generators? But guys, like personally, for some wallets, I'll trust I'll trust my my blue wallet. Like I'll trust my hardware wallet to not really rug pull me. But if you are paranoid, you want to be as sovereign as possible, you don't want to trust anyone, there is multiple ways to roll your own seed, whether it's dice, whether it's literally picking, create your own seed, whether it's dice, whether it's picking the seed phrases out of a hat, whether it's a card game, whether it's a picture, there is multiple ways of doing this. So hopefully that's just like a high level view for you guys that have never even thought about this, that are just creating a wallet and like, oh, I thought I was safe. Again, there's a lot of attack vectors in Bitcoin, and we're just trying to make you guys aware of all this stuff. So hopefully I implanted some new ideas. And then again, hit me in the chat or DM me on Twitter at simplybitcointv, or comment on our YouTube, and we will cover some stuff and, get you in
100%. I also do want to give a very special shout out to got a decent amount of views today. The 50 on Twitter, the almost 400.
This is a good comment, actually. So the boomers will be all over this method, I'm sure.
So I do want to give a shout out to the 50 viewers on Twitter, almost 400 viewers on YouTube, and 80 viewers on Rumble. So today we're starting off the week strong. We appreciate all you guys from all the different platforms. We are Simply Bitcoin. We're your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Guys, I did break free. I am independent now. Please help us, please help us, please help the show, support the show. We do have a large crew. So if you do want to support the show, if it's in you, you could scan the QR code on your screen. You can either send us sats directly, or you could buy our merch. I suggest buying our merch. We dropped some shirts, some hoodies. I think there's only 21 shirts left.
There's less than that.
We did drop the prices too. There's a promo code
on shirts and hoodies.
Yeah. So guys, really, if you're so inclined, if you do want to support the show, help us stay independent.
Also, guys, I did talk with Wine this morning, and the new merch is in the works. So just bear with us. We will get that to you guys ASAP.
100%. All right, guys, we love you all. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of. Dude, I have nothing against boomers. Okay?
I know everyone thinks we do.
It's because the way that you said it, bro. We have nothing against boomers. I love boomers. My parents are boomers. They're hardcore Bitcoiners that are taking self-custody, even though they might not know how to interact with it, but they still are hardcore Bitcoiners that are taking self-custody.
I'm shaming you into self-custody, boomers.
The reason that we emphasize boomers is because the boomer generation is the generation with the vast majority of the wealth right now. And because they have the vast majority of the wealth right now, do you think they're going to take self-custody, or do you think they're going to take all of that wealth and then just dump it into the ETFs? They're going to dump it into the ETFs. That's why we bring it up. But I love boomers. I know we have
love you boomers
that watch the show.
I love boomer music.
I have boomers that are hardcore Bitcoiners that know how to take self-custody. They're more technically knowledgeable than I am. But as a general generation, in terms of the amount of wealth that they have a lot of wealth, right? So that's why we bring it up from that perspective, to clarify. Anyways, guys, we love you all. We appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the show, smash the like button. Smash the like button on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitter. It really helps with the algos. Share this video, share this content, share all Bitcoin content, get the orange signal out there, spread the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We love you all. We're really excited for 2024. We have so much content ideas in the works. So stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. Peace out, everybody.